Frederik Andersen sucks. Andersen sucks. It's so easy to say, right? Frederik Andersen sucks. Our goalie sucks. The Leafs goalie is garbage. So easy to say, right? It's so easy to blame one guy. And I'm not here to defend Frederik Andersen. Andersen has not been good lately. He has not been good this season. At times he has. I mean, if you look at the numbers, you watch the performances, at times he has. But in other games, not so much. In other games, he looks like a fringe starter. In other games, he looks like he doesn't deserve to be in this league. But in other games, he looks like a top 5, top 10 goalie. So I'm going to go through the numbers. If you're new and you're watching, welcome. Welcome if you're a new subscriber. Smash the like button. Leave a thought in the comment section. This is a video I just want to go over everything Frederik Andersen and go over just, you know what, this is for all fans and this is for all teams. This is just an issue right now. And as I'm a Leafs fan and as it relates to me, as it relates to everything I'm kind of looking at on Twitter, for this fan base, it's driving me nuts. It is driving me crazy to see some of the takes, to see some of the, you know when I talk about the blinders, having those blinders on and not looking at any other perspective? That's what drives me nuts. Maybe not having the mental capacity or maybe educating yourself to look at any other perspective or any other stat or any other part of the game rather than just, it's our goalie's fault. Andersen hasn't been good. He hasn't. That's the most obvious statement you can possibly make. To go on Twitter or to make whatever statement you want and to go Frederik Andersen's playing bad. Whoa! My mind is blown! Like, it's just not it. Let's just talk about other stuff and break it down and not just blame the goalie. But Andersen hasn't been good. But let's look at some of the stretches he's had, right? Let's look at some of the stretches. This guy's played 21 games, right? First couple games, not so hot. 8.75 save percentage. That was the game in overtime against Montreal. Riley game winner. 7.92 save percentage. The ugly one against Ottawa. Throw those 2 games away. 9.64 save percentage. 9.05. 9.38. That 3-game stretch right there alone is averaged out to like a 9.35 save percentage. So that's one stretch. 1 3-game stretch. Then the next one again, not so hot again. 8.85, 8.71, 8.97, right? We can just look at save percentage. There's a lot more to the game than just looking straight at save percentage, but it's a lot more reliable than like goals against average, for example. But then 8.42. And then another stretch of 9.64, 9.69, 9.43, 9.20. So he's got another stretch of good games. At least games where he's put up a good save percentage. Again, we're not looking too deep into how the defensive effort was that night, what stats for the defensive effort, and the team in general. And again, I'm not even looking at if they won or not. But for the most part, if he's putting up those numbers, they win. And then an 8.06, it drops for the overtime loss against Ottawa, which was the choke, I believe. And then the 9.64, 9.09, 9.63, so another stretch of 3 games. So I'm already seeing three-game stretches here where he puts up good numbers. He puts up, like he averages in those 3-game sets like a 9.40 or 9.50 save percentage. And then the last 4, which is obviously going to be recency bias for Leafs Nation, 8.71, 8.26, 8.89, 8.44. There's a few problems I have, and I'm going to pull up some tweets here in a second. So if you're watching, definitely watch to the rest of the video. Like, watch till the end of the video so you get your information, and then you can base it off that. Not just hearing one thing I have to say and then going, oh, this guy said this. He's done. What are you talking about? Like, let's watch the video here. So, Jack Campbell has played 3 games, right? And he's at like a 9.50 save percentage, like crazy, right? He's played 3 games, and they haven't been in a row. 2 of them have been in close, but my point is, any goalie can put up 2 or 3. I'm not saying Jack Campbell's bad. Jack Campbell's good. But these are one of the comments that are going out right now is like, Jack Campbell's our guy. Jack Campbell's the starter. He's only played 3 games this year. And this isn't some young guy where I've seen some takes on Twitter or seen some takes on TV. This is a young up-and-coming... Bro, this guy's like 30. He's not an up-and-coming guy. Like, he was a little bit of a late bloomer, but he's not an up-and-coming guy. I like Jack Campbell a lot. I think he can split. I think he can be part of a tandem. Like, when we talk about guys like, again, some of these guys haven't done well this year, but some of the tandems in the league, whether it's Rant and Kemper or Korpisalo and Merzlikins, or when Georgiev was playing well, Shesterkin and Georgiev. Like, we can talk about tandems around the league, right? Campbell can be part of a tandem. And obviously Anderson's had to take on 21 of the 29 games. But Campbell, when he's healthy, can, I think, do that. But this is a 3-game stretch, so let's relax in that sense. And then Anderson's numbers this year, on paper, .899 save percentage, like, it's ugly. And it obviously has balanced itself out with the good games and with the bad games, but it's ugly. And just to pull up, this is from Money Puck. I wanted to pull this up, and I actually love looking at the goals saved above expected, because for me, that tells me what kind of goalie is making those huge saves and able to clutch up for their team. And I feel like the expectation for Andersen is he's supposed to do it like a bunch. I get he hasn't done it much this year. But the only guy that obviously stands out in a huge way in this category is Andrei Vasilevsky. After that, Demko, Hellebuck, Varlamov, Grubauer. Again, this is, sorry, I didn't even mention it. This is goalies that have started at least 20 games. Sample sizes, people. Sample sizes. Andersen is at a minus 1.3. So again, he's allowed some poor, weak goals, but also made some huge saves. Anyone that watched that game, as I'm making this video last night against Winnipeg, he made some huge saves there. Yes, he allowed 5 goals, which was not pretty. 2 of the goals were at the end on a power play, and that's another big thing. I think Andersen's allowed, again, maybe this is the false number, but he's allowed about 15 or 16 power play goals against. He's allowed 60 goals, I think, in total against. Yeah, so it's right there. And 15 or 16 of them have been on the power play. And I'll also pull up a stat from my guy, Joseph Zita, on Twitter. Go follow him. But if we move this to goalies that have played, let's say, I don't know. Let's move it down to about 10 games, right? At least 10 games each. Or I guess I moved it down further. This is probably at least 7 games each. So Jake Allen's there now, and Mike Smith is there now, right? But again, a 13-game sample size, 10-game sample size, a little bit bigger. Laurent Brossoit, 7-game sample size. You go down, and like some of these guys that are here, like Tuukka Rask, Kaapo Kähkönen, I mean, we've talked a lot about even Halak, like Carey Price right there. Like, so some of these goalies, like, it's not like the Leafs are all in, like, it's all about the Leafs. Anderson's the only one struggling. Like, let's scroll even further. Chris Drieger was talked about a lot. Look at that. Look at his goals saved above expected. And then we go even further down. I mean, I see Jordan Binnington there. I see Samsonov. I'm seeing some of the starters for the guys in the playoffs. I'm seeing Lankinen even there. And then, I mean, I could scroll all the way down to see Carter Hart at minus 8.8. And then Carter Hart having like an 70 save percentage. So, again, it's not just the Leafs. And my big question is, and I put it on Twitter, okay, say you move on from Andersen. You're actually relying on Jack Campbell to take on a full season or full games of the Leafs, or just going into the playoffs with Jack Campbell? Who are you bringing in? I know there's been talk about, okay, like the Leafs can go after like Korpisalo, and I'll pull up like and again, it's just about maybe paying attention to the rest of the league rather than just focusing on the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? And again, I talk about on this channel, I'm a Leaf fan, but let's talk about the whole league here, man. Let's pull it up, because it's an issue right now. Let's pull it up. So, my guy, Joseph Zita, big supporter of the channel. Go follow him on Twitter. Andersen at even strength this year. Good. Andersen shorthanded, downright horrendous. He's got a 920 save percentage or 921 save percentage, even strength. That says enough for me that he's doing his job 5-on-5. But that's no excuse. 790 save percentage shorthanded isn't, like, I don't even know what to like say about that. It's horrendous. But I'm looking at a couple of the power play goals he's allowing. Again, I'm not making excuses for the guy or defending it, but I'm just saying, you can mock it all you want. Deflections are still deflections. Like, on that Stastny goal, when it gets a double deflection, Wheeler then Stastny, if you're expecting a goalie to save that, let's have some common sense. It doesn't even come down to hockey knowledge. Like, the best goalies in the league are not stopping that. Again, this is not me. This is not a I'm defending Andersen video. Andersen's been shit at a lot of points in the season. He's been bad. But also look at those shorthanded save percentages for the other two goalies too. And you know what's really sad is the people that are actually saying they'd rather have Hutchinson than Andersen because of a 4-game stretch. That is embarrassing. That is how just the knowledge is not there. And then I look at some of these trade proposals. These are just a couple I'm going to show you of out of so many of them on Twitter right now. Time for the blockbuster. Riley Anderson, Amirov, and a first for John Gibson, and a rental in Josh Manson. Or maybe Manson has next year too, whatever. Are you kidding me right now? John Gibson's good. Don't get me wrong. He's a top 10 goalie, and on a good team, he'd probably be considered a top 5 goalie. He's not putting up those numbers because he's with the Anaheim Ducks. But Riley Anderson, Amirov, and a first. Sure. Let's just throw in Marner and Nylander in there as well. Let's just have a good time. And then this one. Again, it screams not paying attention to the rest of the league. So Korpisalo Campbell could be a nice tandem. Do we have to pull up Korpisalo's numbers? Korpisalo has an .895 save percentage. Thank you very much. Lower than Frederik Andersen. Remember the Blue Jackets had a much better defense than the Leafs did? Korpisalo has a lower save percentage than Frederik Andersen. Korpisalo, ask Blue Jackets fans, has struggled this year. But Leaf fans wouldn't know that. Like, I'm not shitting on all Leaf fans. There's some Leaf fans, like, I love a lot of my fellow Leaf fans. I'm just saying there's so many fans on Twitter that are just not paying attention to the rest of the league. And then I see this. Again, I'm not crapping on anyone, but I'm calling you guys out because I want to pull up the receipts. I would trade Dermott, Freddie, and a first for Korpisalo. Are you out of your mind? Dermott, Anderson, and a first for Korpisalo. What do I do with that? Korpisalo went off in the playoffs. No one's like going against that. And who knows? Maybe Korpisalo comes to Toronto and plays out of his mind. But we're talking about Dermott, Anderson, and a first to get Korpisalo, who has been no better than Anderson this year. The only positive I see out of that trade is that Korpisalo has an extra year at like $2.8 million. So that would be great for the Leafs cap if Korpisalo performs. So, and then this, I mean, great. Jonas Gustafsson, the monster, was just, he was a beauty, man. But, again, we're not comparing the same things here. Apples to oranges. And then this current roster is being wasted because of a goalie is sad. So, being wasted. This team, that's first in the division still. And a top 5 team, top 3 team in the league is being wasted. I had to laugh at that one. And then this is just an example of like some fans just not being able to pay attention to the rest of the league, and other teams had no idea Backus, because with Backus, as I'm making this video, Backus was put on waivers. It's just an example for me that people don't pay attention to what is happening around. And the fact that it's just so easy to say, we're not going to win anything with Frederik Andersen. We need a better goalie. Which goalie are you acquiring? Tell me which goalie is going to be significantly better than Anderson. The price makes sense where, boom, it happens. Like I said, there's options. I mean, like I said, you can go acquire a Korpisalo, or you can go acquire an Antti-Ranta, or give the pieces for a Darcy Kemper, if that even can happen. Outside of that, who? Anaheim's going to want a crazy haul for John Gibson. That probably doesn't make sense to the Leafs unless it's just prospects. And, I mean, I'll pull up, like, again, I look at some of these guys, and then we can look at just straight up save percentage, but most of these guys are on, like, contending teams. Like, the teams that, like, so, obviously, Vasilevsky, Fleury, like, these guys are not going anywhere. I mean, Fleury's established himself again. Montreal, obviously, Jake Allen's not going anywhere. Demko's not going anywhere. Hellbuck, Shesterkin, these guys are not going anywhere. Kemper might be the only one out of the guys that I'm looking through here. So, like I said, my problem is, and I'll pull up. So power play goals against, I kind of already showed it. 20 goals against there for the Leafs on the power play. I mean, it's an issue right now. It's straight up an issue that constantly. And I'm at fault too. I blame sometimes a single player. I was big on, like, man, Gardner was just a mess. And I mean, you'll still have your, like, people talk about the people that defend Anderson. I just laugh when people, like, straight out defend Gardner. I actually liked Gardner at a time, and Gardner did some positives for the Leafs. But there's a reason why Jake Gardner's on waiver. I mean, he got cleared through waivers. and on a $4 million contract. And there was Leaf fans out there that wanted to hand $6 or $7 million to Jake Gardiner. Yeah, you're out of your mind. That's why I'm saying some of these guys, like, just let others speak their opinions on these things. Because I'm telling you right out, like, Andersen is not as bad as it could be. As I said, he hasn't been a top 10 goalie. He hasn't been where he needs to be. He's been bad at times. But I can't tell you 15, like I said, I was being generous on stream. I can't think of 16 better goalie situations than what the Leafs have right now. I truly can't. And a lot of fans are referring to the guys in the North Division. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, Markstrom, been great. Hellebuck is looking Vezina form lately, and it's so easy to look at lately. Recency bias. The last 4 games for Andersen. And then just absolute panic. But, yeah, and then you can make an argument Price has played really good lately. Then you look at Demko, who's had a really good season, especially lately. And then you look throughout the rest of the league. Central Division, who is that, like, outstanding outside of Vasilevsky? Lankinen's had a good year for sure, outside of that. Then you look at the East Division. Okay, Varlamov, great. Jari has had his games. Nothing, I would say, that much more significant than what Andersen's done this year. A little bit better numbers for sure. But game to game, Jari's had his great games. Andersen's had his good games. Jari's had his bad games. Andersen's had his bad games. You can go through the teams. Carter Hart's been horrendous this year. You have Flyers fans calling him a bust after last year saying he was going to be the Vezina this year. And I actually thought he was going to be in the conversation for Vezina because I thought Carter Hart was going to go off this year, and it ended up being the exact opposite. He's absolutely struggled, and that's not just on him. But unfortunately, it's always so easy to say it's just the goalie. And a goalie, the mental state is very fragile. You go from like very confident stretch of games where you're going off. You're seeing that with a bunch of goalies. Korpisalo, look at him in the play-in round. Look at him in the playoffs. Look at him now. Andersen, look at him last season, struggling in the play-in round, out of his mind for the most part, and then again, inconsistent, up and down. So when you have a goalie hot, that's why you ride out a goalie. You don't want to interrupt a goalie's hot streak right now. And if you looked at Marc-Andre Fleury this year, I mean, Fleury has he tends to go on these crazy runs. So my point in this video is, maybe I've rambled too much, but my point in this video is to look at all perspectives. Broaden your horizons. Take a second. Think about it. It's so easy to go on Twitter and go, Frederik Andersen has been bad. He sucks. And get 100 likes and be like, yeah, my take. Big take. That's common sense. Like, let's expand that a little bit. Let's talk about how Engvall loses a man in front and has a weak effort as Adam Lowry falls through on his attempt in front. Let's talk about Travis Dermott's 2 mistakes on transition that costed what led to a goal. And again, no one's solely blaming Dermott on that goal because it's hard to solely blame a player on a goal. In the playoffs, when it comes down to the big plays, yes, I'm yelling at Jake Gardiner. I'm yelling at William Nylander because that's an emotional time, and that's a time where, you know what, that guy made that crucial mistake and it led to a goal. Regardless of how maybe bad the goalie played on the goal, whatever it was, you got to look at the leading up to it. All right, mistakes happen. But why is it so, like, one-sided, a double standard, like, let me say, is like a player can make a mistake, but a goalie can't. I get it. The goalie's allowing a goal. And maybe that's a cliche. Maybe that's soft for me to say. Call me a snowflake if you want. But my point is, look at more perspectives. Broaden your expectations. Broaden your horizon. Look at everything involved. The Toronto Maple Leafs are first in the division as I make this video. Maybe things change. Maybe they're second or third as you're watching. Who knows? Andersen, he'll win a game coming up and be back to a .905 save percentage. Maybe win another one. Make his way closer to .910. .899 save percentage. It looks really bad. It looks really bad. And he's had really bad games, especially recently. I'm not defending him. I'm not defending him at all. What I am saying is, if you're just going to be that guy that every single time, the goalie is the scapegoat, the goalie is the one to blame, the goalie is just like, it's all him, and you're going to... Imagine a coach was like that. Imagine a coach, Sheldon Keefe, went home and just was like, Andersen's to blame. We got to switch the goalie and everything's going to be all right. Really? Imagine a coach did that. And some of you on Twitter would love to be a coach, wouldn't you? Imagine Sheldon Keefe just went home and just did a little X and goes, everything's all right other than Frederik Andersen. We didn't lose for any other reason. The refs are a different conversation. I'm not going to blame the refs, but the refs were horrendous last night. The refs have been consistently horrendous. I was about to say inconsistent. They've been consistently horrendous. So inconsistent, man. That's the one thing they've been consistent at, just being bad. So the refs have been bad this year. I'm not a guy to blame the refs usually, but there's some kind of, I don't know, they're not on the same page. Like the line is like, some refs are over here, some refs are over here. It's a very blurred line right now. So thank you so much for watching. I just talked about a lot of stuff. So let me know what you think. Subscribe, like, and comment. This was John from RPO Bay Hockey. Andersen's been bad. That's a common sense statement. How much else is out there? Leave your options, leave your thoughts with that in the comment section. Jack Campbell, he's had a 3-game sample size this year. So let's just chill on saying Jack Campbell is our #1 starter. I love Jack Campbell. Great goalie. But let's wait and see. Andersen's played 21. 7 times more than what Campbell's played. Let's wait and see. Andersen's had 3-game sets that are basically identical to Campbell's 3-game set. Or close to it. So just think about before you make some weird statements. And then, let's pull it up one more time as we end this video. Or maybe not. Should we pull it up? Should we pull it up? Time for the blockbuster, baby. Riley, Andersen, Amirov, and a first rounder for John Gibson and Josh Manson. Oh, yeah.